VCT Americas Super Week has concluded. There have been some major shifts in the standings, and it's time to talk about those last two matches that happened yesterday. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we are recapping the final two matches of VCT Americas Super Week. These are the two matches that we have to talk about. We have Leviatan versus G2 and Kru versus Loud. One of these matches went the way that everybody expected it to, and the other match not so much. But we're going to talk about that more predictable one, Leviatan versus G2, which did end up in a 2-1 win for Leviatan. This was Leviatan trying to prove that right now they're the best team in all of the VCT Americas. They've now won their last three matches up against some pretty tough opponents. Not that G2 was a hugely tough opponent, and they did in fact give Leviatan a pretty good run for their money, winning the second map to bring it to that third. But Leviatan, they have some amazing players on there, and overall just the talent and just the overall play of them just was able to overcome G2. Looking at map 1, it was Breeze. This was a 13-6 win in favor of Leviatan. This is where it looked like Leviatan were about to sweep G2, to be honest. Lev winning the pistol and the first 6 rounds in a row, and G2 only able to get 2 on their attack side, which for Breeze is pretty bad, and was looking like this match was going to be a very quick one. G2 did bounce back a little, winning 4 on their defense side, but it wasn't enough to stop Leviatan. So most people expecting that Leviatan were just about to run away with this. Did not happen. G2 did take this one 13-8 on Icebox. Early on, Lev were in control, winning 5 out of the first 6 rounds, and then G2 evening the score at 6-6 at the half, and then taking control on their attack side on that Icebox, looking quite good while doing it. Then on the last map, which was Lotus, it was 13-9 in favor of Leviatan. G2 definitely trying really hard to make this a competitive match, but you really can't stop a team with Aspas, can you? 7-5 in favor of Leviatan at the half, and G2 only able to get 4 on their attack side. Lotus definitely being more attacker-sided, and Leviatan were just able to have a very strong defense and a very strong offense. Looking at the team MVPs, of course, Aspas shows up yet again for Leviatan, continuing his insane run during the stage. He went 63, 34, and 8 for plus 29 kill differential. That is absolutely insane. It's funny because for most players that would be your best number of the year, but nope, for Aspas that's pretty regular. Then for G2, Leaf went 54, 43, and 11 for plus 11, having one of his better games on the G2 roster so far. But as it was with most of the match, it just wasn't enough to stop this team that has some insane momentum right now. Leviatan are looking like the team that everybody was expecting this team to be when they got formed. They have some insanely good talent, but the main question early in the year was, can this talent really mesh together? Because at the start it wasn't really looking like that. They had a really sloppy kickoff, and then of course their first match of this split did not go well for them, getting embarrassed by C9, but that pretty much just woke up this team, and they have become an absolute tank. Aspas leading the charge, of course, but the likes of Kane, Mazzino, Tex, and Com all putting up formidable numbers. Their record is now 3-1. They are a lock for playoffs in their group. Not that that's really hard because their group seems to be really bad right now, but I'm glad to see this team do well because even if I'm not a huge fan of the team, which I'm not, it's still nice to see Aspas go on this run because he's the kind of player that can just drag a team to a playoff spot, and now it's not just him doing well. The rest of his team is playing really great as well. G2 drops to 2-2. Their playoff chances are looking pretty slim at this point. Thankfully for them, Sentinels have the same exact record of them, so if they win their next match and Sentinels loses theirs, then they can make it. But it is looking pretty dire for this G2 because that group is really insane, honestly. Just a lot of those teams looking really good against the other group. I do still have belief in this G2 roster, but I don't know if they're going to make playoffs. Then moving on to the second match, which was definitely a very exciting and insanely unpredictable match. We have Kru versus Loud. Kru taking this one 2-0. Loud didn't even get a map. I think it's safe to say that Loud is officially struggling. I was talking about it during the very start of the split after they had that first match against NRG, where I thought, yes, that loss was excusable because of the circumstances behind their visa situation, but that wasn't the first time we started to see concerning things about Loud popping up. They just haven't looked the same since dominating at kickoff. They did look like they hadn't skipped a beat at all after losing Aspas, but at this point in the split, it really seems like Aspas is a player that Loud really could use right now because they're just not looking synced, they're not looking as motivated, and they're just not looking like they're hungry enough to go on a really good run and make it to Shanghai. Even playoffs might be out of the question for them. They have to win each of their last 2 matches to even have a chance. Anyways, looking at both maps, starting with Split, which was Kru's pick, they win this one 13-8. And the unfortunate thing for Loud is they had the lead at the start of this map. Yes, they lost pistol, but then they win 3. They end the half 7-5. So they were in a good spot. They were going into their defense half up by 2 rounds. Not a huge lead, but a good position to be in, especially on split. And they did win the pistol, but then Kru just takes control and doesn't give Loud anything. They win 8 in a row to take the map. Kru were just looking insanely good this entire match. They were playing with a lot of confidence. They were hitting every shot. They were just looking unstoppable, and that did continue on Ascent, which is known as one of Loud's better maps. So this is a really tough loss if you're a fan of this team. Yet another 13-8 win in favor of Kru, and this was Loud's pick. And Kru immediately took advantage of a Loud team that just looked broken. Winning the first 6 rounds in a row, Loud were able to then get 5, so they did make it close, partially because Sadek was just like, come on guys, let's stop losing and let's just act like the team that we've been for like nearly 3 years now. And they did tie the game up 8-8 on that second half, but then yet again they just lost control and Kru were just hitting every shot. They were playing off of each other very well, and they didn't even get a round win that was a plant. They just killed Loud each and every time. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of Kru, Melser went 30, 20, and 10 for +10. So if you think that Kru is just Kisnet and friends, you are very wrong, because I think I've now had 3 or 4 different players as the MVP for Kru when I've talked about them. This team looks very complete right now. And on the side of Loud, Sadek did have a decent game. He went 30, 31, and 20 for -1. It was more just he had the least mediocre numbers out of all of his teammates. Kru now have a record of 4-0. They are absolutely destroying everybody right now. Granted, they have had the easiest schedule, and you could even throw Loud into that group of teams that are easy wins right now because they haven't won anything. But I'm personally not going to say that it is an accomplishment to beat a team of this caliber for Kru, and it seems like this Kru team is actually good. They've consistently looked good. They've been able to stomp on teams that are lower than them. The worst thing that's happened to them so far this split is they lost a map to Furia, but they won that match, so it really doesn't matter. They've 2-0'd everybody else, so I really don't think it matters. They do have 100 Thieves up next, so that will be a very competitive match, but I do not count Kru out of that match, which is not what I would say even a couple months ago. I do have a lot of faith in this team now. I'm just trying to enjoy the ride because I don't know if their playoffs is going to go well. And for Loud, I don't know what you do. I really just don't know where this team is going, what they're doing. They're losing every match. You can, of course, excuse their first loss, as we talked about with Energy, but then they had that 2-week break, and then they lost, losing 2-1 against C9, and now losing 2-0 against Kru. This team just doesn't look the same, and I'm not going to put it on any individual player. I'm not going to put it on Quick, because how can you even be expected to at all replace the skill level that Aspas has? I don't think that's a problem. I just think this team just isn't synced right now. They don't seem to have the same kind of chemistry. While Kru was playing fantastic throughout that whole match, Loud were making a lot of mistakes that they really didn't have to. Just a lot of poor positioning, not hitting your shots, just really easy things that you should be able to fix. I do still think this team is really good. They just aren't right now, and their chances at playoffs are extremely slim, which is very surprising to me because I did, before this year started, expect this team to be at every international. And they proved me right at Madrid, but it looks like Shanghai is pretty out of reach for them. But things can change quickly in Valorant. We'll see if this team can bounce back. I do still have belief that they can. It's just all the Brazilian teams right now just look broken. So looking ahead to Saturday, so we have a pretty quick turnaround here. We have G2 versus MIBR and then Sentinels versus Loud. Loud haven't beat Sentinels since the very start of kickoff. Sentinels, that's a must-win game for them. It's a must-win game for Loud as well. Even though Sentinels have been slumping, they haven't been slumping as hard as Loud, and I think Sentinels, they're probably going to take that. I definitely think Sentinels, I don't think they want to be the embarrassment of winning Madrid and then not qualifying for Shanghai. I think they're going to bring their A game for that one, and I think Loud's going to try to, but I don't think it's going to be able to match what Sentinels are going to bring. Going back to the G2 versus MIBR match, it's Brazil. They're going to lose. G2's going to take that, probably 2-0. All my faith that I had in MIBR after kickoff is now pretty much just gone. It's done. I don't know. I don't know why I put my faith in them. Not that I expected them to be like great or anything, but at least win a game. If there's any game to do it, I guess it's G2. But again, I don't see it. So that is the video. Let me know what you guys thought of both of these matches and the upcoming matches over the weekend. Please click like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.